if you are sending out engagement agreements to your leads days or even hours after the initial consult with your firm, then you're falling behind. You're potentially missing out on high conversion rates, and if your staff is sending out these engagement agreements manually, also risking human error and critical mistakes in this very important document. In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can send out an engagement agreement to a potential new client minutes after the initial consult with your firm or even during it. We'll do so with Lawmatics. In here, the attorney will be able to easily access an internal form directly on the meta page. Once it's opened, it will pre-fill with all the already existing information about that matter. They will then be able to fill out all the necessary fields that are required for the engagement agreement, dependent on the practice area and the case type that it is. And in here, we'll also be able to have conditional logic, meaning that, for example, if the type of billing for this case selected is flat fee, the attorney will be asked to introduce information regarding the flat fee. In case it is hourly, no further information is required. They'll be able to submit the form, and just seconds after this, an automatic engagement letter signature request will go out to our potential client. Let's see that. The potential new client has received their personalized email, and if we now click on this e-signature link, we'll see that the engagement agreement has been customized based on the values that have been provided in that intake form, including obviously the client name, the scope of the agreement and the start date, the choice in between flat fee or hourly billing, so this whole section got replaced depending on the choice, client's communication preferences, and finally a link for them to sign. Now, not only that, but once this engagement agreement is sent out, the matter has been automatically progressed to the next stage in the pipeline, and in case the agreement is not signed, the P&C will get automatic reminders on a predefined schedule, all without any extra manual input. Let's see how this is set up and how you can do that for your firm. Hi there, my name is Martin Kravchenko and I'm the CTO at swans.co, where we help growing law firms implement solutions just like this in their practice. Now, for the purpose of this example, we'll be using Lawmatics, a legal-specific CRM with quite an extensive range of automation capabilities. But if you're using another software, feel free to still follow along and understand all the main steps that are involved in building a process just like this for your firm. So let's get started. Now, there are a few steps that we'll need to complete in order to set this up. We'll first need to build our engagement letter template, our document template. After that, we'll need to build this internal custom form for our staff to fill out. And finally, the automation that will link the two, so that whenever the form is filled out, it sends out the document template and the e-signature request. Let's start with step number 1, i.e. setting up the engagement letter e-signature request. In Lawmatics, this can be found under Assets and then Documents over here. I have created a new document starting fresh over here and then filled out all the section based on a document template that we already had before. So let's click on it and see how it is set up. Now, first of all, in here, I have been able to, first of all, put the e-signature settings, i.e. define who needs to sign this document. This can be, for example, just the client, if you have already the signature pre-filled, which a lot of firms do, or also if you need a separate signature for each engagement agreement, you can also add this option over here. And then I have set up all of the content of this document over here. Now, in each one of these sections, I have either defined some static text or some variables that will be pulled either from the contact or from the matter. So, for example, in this first paragraph over here, I'm defining firm name, which is coming from this general fields over here, and then the first name and last name of our contact from this contact fields. Now, after that, I have the scope of services taken actually a custom field called scope from the matter, and also another custom field which is called service start date, again on the matter. After that, I have two sections for fees and billing. Right? One of them is adapted for the hourly billing type, and another one for the flat fee. Right? So in the case of the hourly, we have already essentially statically defined all of the hourly rates of our different staff members. And in case of the flat fee, we're actually using a field called actual value from the matter, and then another custom field called flat fee initial payment to populate this section. As you can see over here, we have this conditional logic icon, which means that we have set some conditional logic for the sections to appear based on certain criteria. Right? So in this case, for example, for this hourly section, we have defined that if the type of billing on the matter is equal to hourly, then this section will appear. And in the case of the second section, we have defined that will only appear if the type of billing is flat fee, right? So depending on what we choose, one or the other of these sections will appear. After that, we have some more text. In this case, for example, we are also using a custom field called communication preference, which defines whether the PNC wants to be contacted via email or phone. And then we have just some custom static text that doesn't really change from engagement agreement to engagement agreement. In here, we can also add things such as line separators and page breaks for better formatting. And finally, in this last section over here, we have defined a signature field for our client. We can also ask them, for example, to input additional text, checkboxes, dates if required. And in case we also need a firm signer, we'll also add this field over here. So let's click Save Document. And before we go on to setting up the form and the automation, a few things that we can still define over here are email templates that will be associated to this document. We can find this over here if you click on the three dots. We have two settings, email template and e-sign reminders. The email template is the first email that's going to be sent out to them requesting the signature. And then the e-sign reminders will be consecutive reminders that are sent to them on a predefined schedule. So for the email template, quite simple. You can make it as complex and as fancy as you really need. In this case, just simple subject line of your engagement agreement. We are using the first name of the contact. We are also populating it with the service start date custom field from our matter. And finally, also including the document link, the button for them to be able to click on it and sign the agreement electronically. In terms of the e-sign reminders that we have set up on this, let's go back to our documents. In terms of the e-sign reminders, we have defined three of them. One to come out 3 days after the document is sent, another one 7 days after, and the last one 14 days after the document is sent. Now we have defined to send them only via email. In case that you also have the SMS integration set up, you can also send those reminders both via email and text, or just one of those channels. We'll also define that we want to stop sending these reminders if obviously the document is signed or the status of the matter changes to hired or lost, right? So in the case that we update the matter to one of these statuses, the document reminders will automatically stop, making sure that we don't further disturb our clients or lost lead. Now, in each one of these email templates, again, it's a very similar setup. We can define subject line. We can also define any custom fields that we want over here and include the document link. And finally set up when it's going to be sent out and when it's going to stop. Now, great. We have our document templates set up and those email templates connected to it. Let's now set up the custom form, the internal form that will collect all this information from our attorney after the initial consult. I've defined this in Assets, Custom Forms. I've created this new form called Family Law Post-Consult Form. And if we edit it, we'll be able to use any of the fields that we have defined, either on the matter, on the contact, and any of the pre-built fields that Lawmatics offers. So very easily, you just look up for the field and then you drag it onto the canvas. You can put several of them in the same row or actually put it onto a separate row. In here, the fields that I have used are the first name and the last name of the contact, their email and the phone number. The good thing here is that if we already have some of this information in the CRM, in Lawmatics, these fields will be automatically pre-filled, meaning that you won't need to duplicate the data entry. After that, I have added this communication preference custom field that I have defined on the matter, also marking it as required so that the attorney can choose whether it's email or phone preferred, then put a divider, and then included some of the fields about the matter, right, that we'll need to generate the engagement agreement. Specifically, the custom field for the scope, the service start date, both of them required, and then type of billing. Now, for the type of billing, we have obviously several options. We have flat fee, hourly, or contingency. We are discarding the contingency case for this particular example, right? We haven't set up the engagement agreement for that, but we do have the option of flat fee versus hourly. And so in here, I have added the full flat fee amount and the flat fee initial payment fields and made them conditional based on this type of billing field above. So in the case that type of billing, in this case, is flat fee, then this field will appear, and same for the flat fee initial payment. Both of them being required in that scenario. Now, in the case that the user selects hourly, these fields won't appear and hence will also not be required. The user won't even see them. You can also obviously build some more advanced conditional logic over here, especially again if you have predefined already service offerings. That becomes extremely useful. Now that we have defined our form, we'll be able to access it by going to any of our matters and then clicking this button over here, open form, searching for the name of our form, so this family law post consult form, click and open, and again it will pre-populate all the data we already have, in this case the contact details and the name of the PNC, and we'll be able to fill out the rest. Now, for now, if you fill it out, nothing will really happen. It will just update those details on that particular matter, but it won't send out the engagement agreement. So how do we connect the two? We can do it quite easily with automations. You can find them if you go under marketing and then automations over here. I've defined this family law post-consult form automation. Let's open it up. And quite simple, we have defined the entry condition to this automation. Let me just quickly deactivate it so we can actually see the settings. Entry conditions as being the form family law post-consult form has been filled out. We have multiple options over here. So for example, when they register for an event, when a document is signed, when an appointment is booked, or also for example, when is filled out, right? In this case, we have selected our form. This automation will trigger for a matter whenever that form is filled out. After that, we'll immediately request a signature of a document. In this case, we have selected our document that we've just created, family law engagement agreement. We have set out the deadline for it to be a relative date, 15 days from moment when this automation runs. And we can also fill out the signature requester. This could either be a specific person at your law firm, or for example, the lead attorney or the matter owner specific to that matter. Also for the signers, then we'll be able to define all the signers, again, both being the firm signer and any of the client signers. In this case, it's just the automation target, meaning the person, the client associated with that matter. And finally over here, we can choose which email do we want to send out. Do we want to use the email template that we defined in our document when we were setting up our document, or do we want some kind of custom email? In this case, we are using the email template. In case we need it, we can also set up the delivery window, meaning that, for example, it is outside of working hours, the email will be sent at the start of the next working day. Now, once the document goes out, obviously the PNC, the client will get the email for them to sign. They'll also continue getting reminders if they don't do it in a few days. What we also do straight after that is we update the stage of our matter, right? So we have several stages defined over here. First contact, intake form filled, consult scheduled, and an engagement agreement sent. This automation after the engagement agreement is sent automatically moves the matter to the next stage in the pipeline for us also to have better visibility of where all the different matters are in the pipeline and to make sure that our employees, our staff members don't have to remember to do this manually. Now we can add many more actions over here that you would deem necessary, such as adding some conditional logic, adding delays, potential requesting files, running conflict checks, sending documents, sending emails, etc., etc., etc. Fantastic. Let's turn this on. Let's activate it. And now we have the three pieces defined, right? We have our document template created over here with conditional logic and placeholders. We have our custom form to be used internally, and we have our automation set up. Let's actually go to one of these test cases and see how it works in practice. So at those moments, we have this Jessica Lawrence divorce case over here. At the moment, she is in consult scheduled stage. And if we look at the details, for example, the actual value, the flat fee initial payments for now is all empty. The scope also being empty over here. Let's open the form. Imagine that we have just finished, the consult with the clients, or we actually during the consult filling out this form. To also make sure that we don't need to copy paste notes, just putting it directly into the system. Family law post-consult form. Let's click open. Again, it will pre-fill any of the information that we already have. And then as we are talking with the client, we can fill out the rest. So for example, we select email being the communication preference. Then for the scope, we fill out the scope that we have discussed with the client. We fill out, let's say, the service start date being the 15th of this month. And then for the type of billing, again, depending on what we choose, we'll need to fill out some of these fields or others. So in this case, hourly, we don't need to fill out anything extra. If we choose flat fee, then we have these two extra fields for the full flat fee, let's say 5,000, and also flat fee initial payment, let's say 2,000. Now, the great thing is that you can truly use this form while you're on the consult with the client. In case that, for example, something happens, your browser crashes, you accidentally close the window, all this information will still stay in the system. As you can see over here, the form is automatically saved, for now unsubmitted, but it is automatically saved whenever you make any changes. So in case, again, I accidentally close this tab over here, I can now go back to the matter, click open form, click open, and all of the information that I've entered is already here. Nothing is lost. Let's click submit and see how it works. If we now go back to the matter, we'll be able to see that there is a new activity of custom form fields, and we have got also a PDF submission of this form saved into our files over here, just right now. And as you can see, just a few seconds later, we can see that an email has been sent asking for the signature of this document. Let's actually see how it looks like in the email. The email is personalized to our clients with their first name and also the start date of the services that we have defined, so the 15th of January. And as you can see, we have the link to sign the document. Let's open it up. You'll need to confirm that they agree to all the conditions. As you can see, we have the name of our client over here. We have the scope that we have defined inside of our form. We have the start date, and also for the section number 2, considering that we have selected flat fee, the engagement agreement contains that variation of the section, and it has also filled out the quantities, right? So the 5,000 for the full fee, and then the initial payment of 2,000. It also states that the client prefers to be contacted via email, as we have stated in the form. And if we scroll down, we then have the signature. Client can then easily sign the document and submit it. Once they submit the document, they will also receive a PDF version of it in their inbox, and you as a firm will also get notified. Now, apart from that, it will also get updated inside of the Lawmatics matter. We'll be able to see that file and the signature being uploaded to here in just a few seconds. If you want, you can then also set up an automation that whenever the document is signed, that, for example, it marks it as hired and syncs to your case management system, such as Clio, Filevine, or whatever else you're using. There we go. We have the PDF of our engagement agreement with the client signature collected in just a few minutes. Again, if you're spending hours or even days potentially doing this process, there is really no excuse. Automation now shows us a better way, which will mean that you'll increase your conversion rate because the clients will be able to make a faster decision. You'll also improve the client experience and really stand out from the competition. Again, all of this you can set up with Lawmatics. If you are using other systems, then potentially you'll be able to set up something similar in there. That will all depend on the internal automation capabilities of that particular software. If it doesn't have those automation capabilities inside of it, then you can use tools like Zapier and Make.com to connect the whatever system you are using to, for example, document generation or e-signature tool, and then automate that process that way. I hope that you've gotten value out of this video. Thank you very much for watching and happy automating. See you in the next one.